at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time. Welcome to the show. Lots of news and lots of great conversations. 49ers make a signing, but there's also all the things that are, they're dealing with as far as the COVID list and who is going to be playing cornerback. And Kyle Shanahan is giving no direct answers, but we're going to get into all of it because he thinks there's 4 viable options for the 49ers at cornerback against the Los Angeles Rams on Sunday.
And one of those options, Ant, is not the recently signed to the practice squad cornerback Darqueze Dennard. They signed him to the practice squad. They were preparing him for the preseason or the regular season finale, against the Rams. I think that's just a precaution in case there's a certain someone who cannot be available in the Shark on Sunday. But look, they made that roster move on the practice squad. They brought him in. But that isn't one of the 4 guys that Kyle Shanahan is talking about being eligible and available Sunday that he's going to feel very comfortable with. Look, Kyle Shanahan is not really pulling any punches in this category, Ant, with this cornerback room. Who are these 4 guys that he said he's comfortable with, Ant? And what do you think the route is going to be that this defense is going to take? I know we teased at this, right? A healthy Emmanuel Mosley, we think, is probably going to be back into that fold, and then most likely it would be Ambry Thomas. Do you see that being the actual case after these comments that Kyle Shanahan made? And can you take nothing from these comments because Kyle Shanahan's not going to give anybody anything?
Well, Kyle's definitely not giving anyone anything at this point in the season. We've seen it over the last couple of weeks. He has been pretty, close to keeping everything, to his vest. Everything's close to the vest because he does not want to give anyone any sort of advantage against his football team, especially in a must-win situation against a very talented Los Angeles Rams team. But yeah, he's laid this out, and there are some complications with this. I think if it was just straightforward and Dontae Johnson wasn't on the COVID-19 list, then you would be battling him, Mosley, Ambry Thomas, and Josh Norman. But he gave a little bit of insight into why Norman was replaced. And I guess they had decided that if Josh Norman was going to continue to get pass interference calls, they would consider bringing in Dontae Johnson, who has come in of late and hasn't been as penalized. Of course, we know Dontae Johnson also got a pass interference in the game, but he played well. I think it would have been an interesting decision for them, coming up on Sunday if he wasn't into the protocols. But now if they have Emmanuel Mosley come back and he is activated today off of the injured reserve, then he will be out there practicing. And if he is out there practicing, I think he is set to start. And then the question is, which one of the 3 guys will play opposite of him? Kyle Shanahan talked about how Ambry Thomas has played well and in fact played better than anticipated. And then you've got Josh Norman and you've got of course the Dontae Johnson. But Johnson won't be able to practice as he's going to be on the COVID list. So if I had to guess, I would think it's actually between Norman and Ambry Thomas to play opposite of Emmanuel Mosley if Mosley is ready to go. But like Kyle Shanahan said, they have 4 viable options. And the signing of Darqueze Dennard was a good signing because it ensures you, in case one of those guys isn't able to come off the COVID-19 list, that they'll still have a cornerback that they can use, because it might be a situation where if K1 doesn't come off, but Dontae Johnson does, you could stick Dontae Johnson in the slot and play one of those other guys on the outside, but then you'd be really flimsy and light out there on the edge. So it's a nice move. Let's see what they do. Dennard can also help in special teams too if you lose a great special teams player in Dontae Johnson if he's not able to clear protocols by Sunday.
Yeah, 100%. Look, there's other things too that come up with this and other issues. What I did like is that Kyle Shanahan is really not tipping his hand on how he feels about this cornerback room at all, because he said, and there's not a lot of distance between any of them. And I disagree, because I think there's a big difference and a big gap between Emmanuel Mosley and everyone else that's below Emmanuel Mosley. I think you would agree with that as well. Look, Kyle's going to be Kyle. He's not going to give away as much as he possibly can. He's going to keep it all close to the vest. If Emmanuel Mosley's healthy, not only is Emmanuel Mosley starting, Emmanuel Mosley's locking down one side of the field and changes the way the defense operates. He truly does. It's the same thing if you had Jason Verrett out there. Changes the way your defense operates. Does Emmanuel Mosley play at Jason Verrett's level? No, but Emmanuel Mosley has been playing at a very high level all season long. Hasn't given up a touchdown all year. That's impressive in and of itself. So look, if Emmanuel Mosley goes this week, I have to imagine it's going to be Ambry Thomas. because I think Ambry Thomas has played himself up into the category that Josh Norman has played. I think he's played himself up into the category that we've seen DJ show at times in flashes this year. I think regardless of whether Dontae Johnson is healthy or not, I think it's Ambry Thomas. I think Dontae Johnson is the safety net. I think he is the guy right now that they feel that they can stick him anywhere. Slot, outside, left side, right side, doesn't matter. We can put Dontae out there and we feel comfortable that Dontae can get the job done, which is good to have. And I think Josh Norman now becomes your safety net. It becomes that extra piece in case, all heck breaks loose and you have a couple guys go down or a couple guys in COVID protocols and things of that nature that can't get themselves off of it in time for the game, then okay, you know what? You feel good. Josh is held up all year long. We can get by, again, one more game with Josh Norman. You 100% can. I think this is a nice situation for the 49ers to have. This is something we hoped, right? You hoped that Ambry Thomas or Deommodore Lenoir would develop enough by the end of the season that they could have a role and have an impact, and here we are. They're both here. Ambry Thomas is showing that he can go out there and have an impact, and a pretty substantial impact, and being a guy that you can go out there and we're both fairly comfortable with Ambry Thomas starting. There's no way at the halfway point of the year that I would have felt this way. If you had asked me, hey, by week 18, are you going to be good with Ambry Thomas starting? I would have been like, he could surprise me, right? But my gut instinct is no. Ambry Thomas has come a long way from the guy we saw in training camp early this year.
Yeah, and teams are not challenging him as much as they were early on.
True.
You saw the Cincinnati Bengals go at him. They went after him really hard. And he got tested and he struggled at times. But when you got to the Tennessee Titans, they didn't go at him as much. There wasn't as many situations where you saw A.J. Brown or Julio Jones beat him. And I think that he's just gotten a little bit better every single week. And this last week, they really didn't challenge him at all. The Houston Texans didn't stick Brandon Cooks on him a lot. There was the one deep play down the field, but he had safety help, so you're expecting that safety to be there to help make that play. I think he has played himself into that second spot. I think you are right. I think Emmanuel Mosley is, bona fide number one if he's back. He's the guy, and I think Ambry Thomas is sitting there too. I think it is razor tight between him and Dontae Johnson. I think from what we saw from Dontae Johnson, before he had, the personal matter where he left, I think he had put himself in prime position to start actually. This might actually benefit the 49ers in the long run because Ambry Thomas came on in that period of time. So now that Dontae Johnson's back, you have three corners that are, possibly elevated beyond Josh Norman, where Norman was your second guy. And then over the middle of the season when Emmanuel Mosley was out, he was the number one guy. He has fallen from 1 to 4 in the matter of a week. That is a huge difference. And the fact that you're going to be going against Odell Beckham Jr. and Cooper Kupp, you're going to need all hands on deck. The real thing is, can Jimmy Ward be playing? Because if Jimmy Ward is playing, he's going to help protect these guys, and he's also going to give a lot of help on these inside routes because he has been a problem for Cooper Kupp in third and medium situations, tackling him before the sticks. This is something that has happened continuously over the last couple of years. So Jimmy Ward is definitely needed in this football game and can't be missed when we're talking about the corners because sometimes that's what he does because he's so versatile, he can do both.
Yeah, Jimmy, of all of the names on that COVID protocol, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday, of all the names that are currently on that COVID protocol, Jimmy Ward is one of the more important ones that you need to get back into the fold.
Yep.
You just need to. I think you and I both think that the way Dontae Johnson has been playing, if he got off COVID protocols and K1 didn't, you're still feeling pretty good with DJ in the slot. You're not hating life. We are going to be hating life if there is no Jimmy Ward out on that football field. Him and Jaquiski Tartt back there, it makes, I saw, I forget who it was that I saw, but I saw someone today on Twitter praising DeMeco Ryans for his disguise coveraging and how just absolutely incredible he has been all season long at disguising coverage.
Dan Orlovsky,
that's right. And if Dan Orlovsky had just been watching the 49ers cutback back from week 1, he would have been hearing us say, man, DeMeco Ryans he's disguising it up. He's really keeping these quarterbacks guessing. We've been saying that since the start of the year. So Dan, welcome to the train, my friend. You should come on the podcast. You can talk with us sometime about disguised coverages from DeMeco Ryans. But look, he's been doing it really well. You know what makes it really easy to disguise coverages, Ant? Having Jaquiski Tartt and Jimmy Ward back there, able to flip-flop around, have them both come up, sit down, when motion goes, come downhill like you're coming in for a run fit or a man look and then drop them back at the last minute or run a different coverage. Having both of them interchangeable back there, being basically playing a fluid safety role. There's not a right side or a left side safety. It's just safeties. They just play the safety spot, and they can both come into the box, stay deep if you need them to, whatever it is that you need. Makes it really easy for both of them to have success, but both of them have to be on the field in order to accomplish that. Both of their skill sets, basically, they're yin and yang to each other. They complement one another so well. Not having one of them out there is going to impact this defense in a way that I would prefer just not to see it. I would just prefer not to see it. Even if you get Dre Greenlaw back and Maurice Hurst back into the fold of this group, I would prefer, can we just get a healthy 49ers defense with the exception of Jimmy Ward for 4 quarters of a football game? Can we get that, please? I just want that 1 week. Just 1 week.
Yeah, I think we're not going to get that until probably the wild card round.
You're probably right.
The 49ers need to win this football game, and then they could probably get Azeez Al-Shaair back.
It's true.
And that's when you'll finally see these guys at 100%, Dre Greenlaw back, Emmanuel Mosley, Jimmy Ward, the full docket. And you're right, defined roles have changed. Everyone remembers Vic Fangio's defense, where you had Deshaun Goldson playing the free safety role, and then Dante Whitner playing the strong safety role. And Dante Whitner was not the best in coverage. No. So there was defined roles there. With Tart and Ward, because they're so good at doing it all. Now, Jimmy Ward is a level above Jaquiski Tart, but because they're so good at doing it both, they can cover tight ends, they can cover receivers in the slot, they can do all the things that they need to do. So it makes it a very versatile room, and it allows DeMeco Ryans a lot of flexibility to be able to play with his disguises, play with his coverages. You throw in the fact that you have somebody that's as good at coverage as Fred Warner is, where you see situations where he's on Brandon Cooks. I know Cooks caught the touchdown pass, but how many linebackers are going to take a wide receiver in the slot? Zero besides him. You saw it a little bit from Navarro Bowman and Patrick Willis,
True,
where they would cover the big tight ends and stuff, but that is pretty much unheard of. But that's because you have that so much ability coming from that linebacker spot. That is what has allowed DeMeco Ryans. He's used all of his talent to the best way possible. He's put these guys in great positions to be successful. That's one of the keys to being a great coach. And that's why the 49ers defense has been getting better and better and better. And that's why they have a good shot of beating the Los Angeles Rams. Now, this is not going to be an easy football game. This one I expect to go down to the wire, pulling teeth. But I do think that the Niners defense can keep them in this football game, and they can frustrate this Rams offense, because if they stop this run game, and once again, if they're able to stop this run game with that front 7 and not have to commit one of those safeties to the box, it's going to be a lot harder for Odell Beckham and Cooper Kupp to get going, because the 49ers can match up with the tight ends and running backs out of the backfield with linebackers and safeties.
1,000%. And speaking of the Rams and beating the Rams this weekend and playing to strengths, Kyle Juszczyk talked a little bit about this on this Rams rivalry and why the Niners have been so dominant against McVay, especially when Jimmy's been the quarterback. He talked about how the Niners are really good at playing to their strengths when they play against them. And he said it specifically in running the football category, controlling time of possession, playing good defense, taking the ball away, things like that. It all just seems to come together. And that Rams week, they put in a lot of time. We put in the work to make that a strength of ours. And it just so happens that when we play the Rams, those have been particularly good weeks in those areas. The execution, Aaron Donald could attest to that as well, with Daniel Brunskill playing the way that he is, Deebo Samuel owning the Rams, and Aaron Donald's got 2 daddies on the night. He's got Daniel Brunskill and he's got Deebo Samuel. He's got 2 guys taking care of him each and every time that they play him. And look, the Niners are heading into this matchup with question marks at the quarterback. Is it Jimmy Garoppolo? Is it Trey Lance? If the Niners just showed with Trey that you can run the football effectively. And I get it. The Texans defense in the front is not the same as the Rams defense in front. I think we all can agree with that. But Trey does add an extra layer of problems to the run game that I think is why we had so much success. The Texans were very keen on Trey Lance and what he was doing. They were very keen on it. And when we had play action looks, Trey had a lot of time. They sold out a direction. It really is going to come down to winning those one-on-one matchups on the interior. What did you think about Kyle's comments on this, Ant, and them controlling? He also said, this is how things were supposed to go this year. We were supposed to be in a meaningful game at the end of the year, and we wouldn't want it any other way, kind of going into SoFi Stadium with a chance to, maybe return there later in the season for the playoffs and things of that nature. How do you think Kyle Juszczyk is understanding this team, and do Kyle Juszczyk's comments make it seem like maybe the Niners feel very confident heading into this game?
Well, I think they do, and I think there's more to his comments than that. I think he's giving you kind of a little glimpse into what the 49ers, like about this matchup with the Los Angeles Rams. And he's right. They run the football a lot on the Rams, but it comes down to matchups. And we've talked about this in length. Is this Los Angeles Rams linebacker group is not very good. Because they're not very good, if you get to the second level, you're able to kind of get this run game established early. Plus, you couple that with the fact that on the interior defensive line, yes, Aaron Donald is fast and he's good at penetration. If you neutralize him, though, you can move the other guys off their spots. They don't have a big run stopper in the middle. They've got decent edge rushers on the outside, but the 49ers took advantage of those guys because they weren't great in run fits. So what they're really built to stop the pass. They're not built to stop the run. So when the 49ers go in there and set up their bully mentality, the Rams struggle with it. You add the fact that you have a great cornerback in Jalen Ramsey, which is fantastic. But if he's going to be trying to take away Deebo Samuel, the problem is you can't locate Deebo Samuel. This isn't Jerry Rice where you can go put him one-on-one where Dion used to travel with him, and you would at least know he's going to line up, in a certain spot. He's going to be out wide or he's going to be in the slot. With Deebo Samuel, he could be in the backfield. And you don't want Jalen Ramsey in those situations on Deebo Samuel in the backfield. So what happens? Deebo Samuel starts in the backfield, motions out, and then he's matched up with somebody else. And they don't have the horses outside besides Jalen Ramsey to be able to stop Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle. So the matchups are just problems for them. The 49ers offense is just built to beat this Rams defense. That's just the way it is. Will they be able to do it? I don't know. You still have to go out and execute, and you still have to go out there and execute your game plan at a high level because the Rams do have penetrators on the interior. Where they give up in size, they make up for speed. But if you can occupy them, that's where you're good. Daniel Brunskill doesn't have a problem with speed. He has a problem with strength. That's why he's able to handle Aaron Donald a lot. He can beat him to a spot because he's quick enough to get his hands into his chest plate. Aaron Donald's still going to get his. They're still going to get pressure off the outside. But if the 49ers can get the run game going early in this game, it really, I'm going to say this, and I don't want people to take it the wrong way because we're going to talk about Kyle Juszczyk's second set of comments. But Jimmy Garoppolo is part of the reason the 49ers have success against the Rams because he gets rid of the ball quick. Against this Rams penetrating defensive line, if you can get the ball out and to your playmakers really fast and neutralizes that pass rush, that gives me a little bit of concern with Trey Lance, who likes to hold onto the ball, extend plays, and then make plays down the field. Now, if he can consistently get away from this Rams defensive line, he will have opportunities, but I don't know for sure he can do that because I haven't seen it. If I had seen it already, I would probably have less concerns, but it is something that at least makes me worry a little bit.
That is a 100% fair comment that some people will take completely the wrong way, Ant. Because it's like, what are you saying? That Trey is not better than Jimmy? Trey is not better than Jimmy at getting rid of the ball quickly.
No, he's not.
That's not Trey's strength. Right? I call a spade, a shovel, an elongated release, release.
I don't think anyone would actually argue that Trey Lance gets rid of the football faster than Jimmy Garoppolo.
True.
Not at this stage of his career. Doesn't mean he won't at some point, but
right now, at this moment, absolutely not.
That is really what Jimmy's calling card is getting rid of the football fast.
It's elite. Is
his one elite trait.
This is what we kept saying, right? This is why, for me, it's really hard to knock Jimmy Garoppolo, for just certain things. As much as people want to say, average across the board and everything, that release, though, how quick that ball comes out, it changes a lot of things because he doesn't need big windows to fit the ball in. And we've seen that countless times this year, the tight window throws, fitting the balls. Ball coming out and him whipping around a guy into a tight window that he has no business fitting a football into. There's no reason that pass should get there. And yet it does for Jimmy Garoppolo. And this isn't a guy with an elite arm talent. He's not an elite arm talent.
No.
But he is extremely quick released. He recognizes and diagnoses fast. So look, this is the thing, right? This Rams team, that front is formidable. That front four is a problem. And when they bring the fifth guy down, and they're going to bring a fifth guy down, they're going to have speed, strength, power everywhere. All over the place. Leonard Floyd on one side, Von Miller on the other, Aaron Donald right in the middle, Sebastian Joseph Day there as well, and whoever the other guy is, they want to walk down in space, whether it's Reader or whoever else it is. I forget the actual other linebacker's name. I apologize, Rams fans. There's a lot of names to focus on.
I don't apologize.
Okay, well then there's fair.
You have to play better if you want to be recognized.
Or Taylor Rapp coming down from the safety spot. Anyway, that's beside the point. The Rams defense is a problem. It's predicated on getting pressure quick. They are, like you said, predicated on, basically stopping teams from being able to pass the football effectively. The league has shifted towards that. They're focused on stopping that. The Niners are a run-first team. You're built to basically cause problems for this team. And the Niners need to do that in a big way. Can Trey do that? think so. Do I know that with 100% certainty? Heck no, we haven't seen enough of Trey Lance to know whether or not he's going to get us in and out of the right calls. And after that first half against the Texans, I don't feel better about Trey Lance going into this Rams game. I really don't. He holds on to the ball longer than he should. But Kyle Juszczyk had some comments on this, and what exactly did Kyle Juszczyk say? Because he talked about Jimmy, talked about Trey Lance, and kind of compared them and talked about their differences. Does Trey, based on what you're hearing from Kyle Juszczyk, seem like the kind of guy that fits into the mold of right now being the answer to beat the Rams in Week 18?
I mean, he really talks about the differences between the two guys. And one of the things he brings up is Jimmy Garoppolo's elite release, getting the ball out to his playmakers in space where they can make things happen. And then he talks about Trey, being able to get outside the pocket, extend plays, and how that is kind of the wave of the future because it can create huge plays down the field.
Gigantic.
Yeah, gigantic, which, and what he even mentions in this is that both ways you can win with, right? You can win with both styles of quarterback. And I think that the reason I brought this up about Jimmy Garoppolo is just, I think against the Rams per se, at this point, he might be a better option because he gets rid of the ball quickly. If you could tell me that Trey Lance was going to get rid of the ball between 3 and 4 seconds every single play, except for the plays that he was able to escape the pocket and look down the field, I would say he has an opportunity to do that. I just haven't seen it consistently from him. He is a guy that likes to hold on to the football a little bit longer, 4, 5 seconds, and those create opportunities, like you talked about Aaron Donald and these guys to get to him. And that is something that we can't have happen. We can't have him taking sacks because those negative plays will stop this 49ers offense from being able to run the football. And that is really what the bread and butter needs to be. So you can't have negative plays against this Rams defense. You need to keep moving the sticks. And the only way you do this is by getting positive plays, whether that is a Jimmy Garoppolo 2-yard pass that tends to be 6 or 7 yards because of the run after the catch. All those things work in the 49ers' favor because it's really not about big plays down the field against the Los Angeles Rams. It's kind of like a death by 1,000 cuts. You just got to keep cutting until you get where you want to go. But I think that if Trey can do the things outside the pocket, if he can get away from this Rams defense, then yeah, the 49ers offense can still be successful against the Rams. I'm not sure because I haven't seen it yet.
It's a question mark, Ant. It's that would be a risk going into this game if you were banking on Trey Lance's escapability to win you the football game. Create those big play opportunities for the chunk plays. If the chunk plays have to come from Trey Lance's escapability, you're playing with fire against the Rams because they're built on getting after the quarterback and the pass rusher, and they have a freak of nature athlete in Aaron Donald who can track guys down and cause problems. I mean, he did it to Kyler Murray, the last time they faced. The first time he didn't do it, they struggled against Kyler the first time. This last time around, though, they didn't have any problems getting after Kyler Murray and making his life a living nightmare. And if Kyler Murray was a living nightmare in that scenario, do you really, 49ers fans, do you really feel that comfortable with Trey Lance? This is a great time for you to comment down below right now and let us know what you're thinking. Do you have these hiccups or these reservations about Trey heading into this game that we're kind of having? And it's only specifically because of the release and him not really getting rid of the ball quickly. That not being a strength of his heading into this football game. Jalen Ramsey was visibly frustrated the first time around the Niners played because he felt non-impactful in the football game. He felt like he had no impact in what was going on because the Niners were running the football. It was underneath passes to guys that he wasn't covering. He's not making tackles. He's having to come up in the run to make stops. And that's not a strength of his. That's not what he does well. And the Niners have done a very good job of containing and corralling Aaron Donald. They did a great job the last time he played them of containing and basically punishing Von Miller. The Rams are going to be heavily motivated, because if they win the NFC West. Also, you'd like to get one up over on the 49ers, you would think, especially when the last 5 times that Jimmy's played haven't gotten one over. So the Rams are definitely going to want to make the Niners pay a little bit and punish them. It's gonna be an interesting game, that is for sure. And the Niners can win. It doesn't matter to me who plays quarterback because you can win either way. But if you gave me a choice, Jimmy Garoppolo I already know can do it. I've seen it so many times. I've seen how this team has played against this Rams team with Jimmy Garoppolo under center. I would prefer the Niners be able to go that route. But you know what? At the end of the day, if he's not healthy, he's not healthy. And I have complete faith that Trey is going to be in a mindset, Ant, that maybe we haven't seen out of Trey Lance. because I've seen Trey Lance win a lot of football games in college. I've seen him win big football games in a variety of different ways in college as well. There's been games where he's thrown a lot. There's been games where he's been asked to be a runner. And there's been times where he's been asked to throw the deep ball. And there's been times where he's been asked to throw underneath. Maybe we're going to see a Trey Lance that's extremely dialed in and can get the football out, quicker and a little bit more on time. He showed it in the second half. There was some more rhythm throws and some more underneath stuff, end of the half as well. It's really going to come down to just limiting mistakes this week. The less mistakes the Niners make, the easier this game will be Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, and Kyle did a good job of getting him outside the pocket where he could feel comfortable and have open lanes to deliver the football. But like you talked about earlier, when they bring 5 guys to the line of scrimmage, that is going to somewhat limit what Trey Lance is able to do with the boot. Yes, they have to commit that defensive end to be able to pick up a running back that's going to be cutting back against the grain, but only to a point. So I think that it's going to be interesting to see how the 49ers ultimately attack. You've got question marks at quarterback position no matter what. You got Jimmy with the thumb. Can he be able to deliver with an injury? Or can Trey Lance be able to defeat this pass rush with his legs or with getting the ball out quickly? It's going to be a fun game, I think, for most of it. I think at some point I'm going to get very nervous depending on how this game is playing out. And I'm also going to be watching, to see what is going on with the Saints. For some reason, the Falcons can go in there and absolutely handle the Saints and blow them out. That'll make me feel good about, our situation and where we're sitting, because this is a must-win. That's how I'm approaching it. Like, the playoffs have started right now, and the 49ers must, beat the Los Angeles Rams. But there is question marks at the quarterback position, and because of COVID, there's question marks at the cornerback position too. Both areas you can't have the 49ers weekend. So yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see if Jimmy Garoppolo practices today. Let's see if Emmanuel Mosley, Dre Greenlaw practice today. And then let's keep an eye on Jimmy Ward in this cornerback room and see if they get activated, after the 5-day quarantine. If they do, I'll feel a lot more confident about this 49ers defense heading into this Rams game. And if Jimmy Garoppolo is out there practicing, I think that at least it makes the Rams think that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to play. So whether he does or not at that point, I think it does give the 49ers a little bit of advantage from the quarterback position. And I will say this, if Trey Lance is the starting quarterback, I believe he will give the 49ers an opportunity to win. I don't think he will be the reason the 49ers lose. I think he will go out there and compete at a high level, and he can make throws. And I don't know if you saw Chris Sims talking about the differences between Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo, and talking about how Trey Lance's style and playing and throwing outside the numbers is actually more beneficial for the 49ers because less chances of turnovers out there, where Jimmy Garoppolo has a bigger chance of turnovers living over the middle of the football, where there can be congestion and one tip ball or whatever can turn into a turnover. I thought that was an interesting thing to bring up as well. However, I would like to see Trey continually work on going over the middle, but I have seen a stark improvement, Alex, from what we saw in training camp with him going over the middle. Right now. Some of the passes he made, the one drop by Debo, that was on target. That should have been a catch.
Beautiful pass.
Yeah, for some good yardage.
Beautiful pass.
And then the one to Brandon Ayuk where Ayuk broke the tackle and broke outside. Those were great passes. So we've seen that improvement starting. If it continues, and maybe it will, you never know. He gets out on the field, it might be a good situation, but I am very behind Trey Lance if he's the starting quarterback.
It doesn't matter who's, I'm comfortable with either guy. At the beginning of the year, we said the Shannon plan we thought was a thing, in which you could see Trey start on a given week, Jimmy started on a given week. We wouldn't have said that if we didn't believe that either guy could win football games for this team. Styles make fights in the NFL. Styles make matchups. This is a matchup where Jimmy Garoppolo's style fits better for what the 49ers would like to do. So ideally, you'd like to see it, but if he can't do it, Trey is going to have to get it done, and I believe he can. It's going to be a different way of beating the Rams. Yeah. It's definitely going to be a different way than we've seen from the 49ers, and maybe that's the best thing in this Week 18 game, because a different way to beat the Rams means you go back to the old ways in the playoffs if you end up having to face the Rams again. But there's actually a lot more playoff scenarios for the 49ers than we realized when we started talking about it yesterday. So make sure you stick around for a playoff special that'll come out sometime this week. I don't know exactly. Maybe it's today. Maybe it'll be another day. But we're going to go through some of these playoff scenarios and talk about which ones we think are the best for the 49ers. But Cutback Crew, let us know right now about all of today's topics. Do you have concerns in the cornerback room? Is it Emmanuel Mosley and Ambry Thomas, or is it Emmanuel Mosley and somebody else? You don't have any faith in Ambry Thomas. You want to see DJ out there. Comment down below right now what you thought about Kyle Juszczyk's comments as well. And just let us know Do you think it's trade day against the Los Angeles Rams, or you want to go back to Jimmy Garoppolo in this game and see what happens? We want to hear from you about this. And while you're down there commenting, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell, and let's get this thing up to 2,200 by Sunday. Let's do this thing. Smash that subscribe button. Become the newest member of the Cutback crew.
Yeah, and I don't think there's a wrong way to believe. I don't think that you can think that Jimmy Garoppolo is a better option or Trey Lance is a better option. I think both things are okay. I think that right now it's just, like you said, styles make fights. I'm curious where everyone is kind of leaning on this. I know a lot of people are riding high off of what Trey did in the second half. They were very excited about it. A lot of pundits are very excited about what they saw from Trey Lance on film, and that's exciting because we're seeing a lot of improvement. Now, the statements that came out of Kyle Shanahan and Trey Lance make me believe that if Jimmy Garoppolo is healthy, Jimmy Garoppolo is a starting quarterback. But I expect nothing less from Trey because he's been nothing but absolutely professional since the first day that I ever heard him open his mouth. Tremendous person, and I think he's going to be a star quarterback in this league at some point. His development is real. He's been developing through the year. It's amazing that you see 49ers players developing throughout the season. It makes me optimistic for other players that they drafted as well, such as Aaron Banks, and Jalen Moore, that they can develop into something big because we see what Chris Forrester's done, with some of the other offensive linemen as well. This is a good sign for the 49ers. Good drafting followed by development will equal sustained success, and it looks like the 49ers are headed that way. But right now, all we care about is beating the Los Angeles Rams, whether that's Jimmy Garoppolo or Trey Lance, 100% behind them, rooting for them, and Kyle Shanahan, come up with whatever game plan you need to do to stymie Coach McVay again, and then get ready because you might have to ratchet up and do it all over again the very next week. So I don't know if you just stay in LA or if you come home, but either way, I think it's hour and a half flight, no problem.
That's easy. That's cake. That's absolutely cake. Listen, 49ers, we got faith in this team. We got faith in whoever the quarterback is, and we have faith in the faithful that you're going to show up in a big way in Los Angeles Sunday, and hopefully, head on the road with Chapman as well.
Yeah.
And, he's got his
road trip.
He's got the 49ers, the road trip out there with the Gold Rush, with the Rush podcast. So if you're going to be out in LA, hit up John Chapman. Try and head on over there and have some fun with the countdown crew and just the faithful, because the Niners empire is everywhere, Ant. They've been taking over stadiums left and right. Take over Los Angeles this Sunday. And until the next one, Cutback crew and the faithful, stay safe.
And remember, the right way
is always the 49ers way.